Alright, so this is an in-depth tutorial about expressions codes that I use. I'm not just gonna tell you copy me and like do like that, do like this, um, and just follow me. I'm not. It's not gonna be a tutorial like this. This tutorial is meant for you to really understand what we're doing here. I believe this is the best way to learn and understand things. This tutorial is gonna be both beginner and advanced friendly, so I'm gonna explain things into detail, and my English sucks. Sorry in advance for that. Alright, so let me open After Effects real quick. And first we're gonna talk about what is expressions. So I'm gonna show you three main expressions that I'm using. We're gonna talk about bounce expressions, random expression, and wiggle expression. And I'm gonna give you examples for each one of them and how would I use them and how to set them. So basically, first of all, what are expressions, right? So expressions are basically codes. I usually save them on my PC to use them quickly. So for example, this is the bounce expression, right? It's just a code, right? And how do you use expression? So first of all, like for the bounce expression, you can use it on anything that you wanna bounce. I got my clip Twixtor here, and I just wanna make like a bounce for the scale value, like a simple scale shake bounce. Give me a transform for that, and we basically want to bounce the scale, so we want to get something bouncy like that, right? So how do you use expression? To use expression, all you gotta do is hold Alt and click the stopwatch while holding Alt. Now the value will turn red. This means the expression is turned on, and right here the expression box for typing will open. So now all you gotta do is copy the expression code. I'll leave all links for the codes in the description, by the way. After you copy the code, you basically have the expression. But right now we gave no value for the scale, so right now nothing is happening, right? So to give value for bounce expression, you gotta make two keyframes, and they gotta be in one or two distance from each other. So the last one is the last value that's gonna be, and I want it to end in 100, so I'm gonna give it 100. And the first one is like the starting value, so I'm gonna make it like 110. And now, as you can see, we got our first expression, and it's bouncing. I hate the tiles here, so I'm gonna fix it real quick. Just gonna add punk rock. It's gonna be the shake. It's gonna be the punk rock layer. I usually use Blurmo curves for my punk rock. You can use anything you want, really. I just prefer that. Alright, so basically if you want to imagine it like visually how the graph looks, like what's happening behind the scenes with the bounce expression. So let's say we have a graph, right? So this is time and this is amplitude, and basically how the value of the scale changes when it bounces, it's basically something like this. Sorry, something like this, right? And then there are three main values that you wanna understand. So first one is amplitude, frequency, and decay. So amplitude is like how high the value of the shake will be. So let's say we made a shake with a higher amplitude, so compared to the first graph, it would probably look something like this. Just higher bounces, right? Okay, so frequency is basically how many bounces are in a short time. The amount of bounces in a short time. So the higher the frequency, the more bounces you have in a short time. So let's say in the same time, right? How would the shake with higher frequency look? So same amplitude, same everything, it look like this. just higher frequency, right? And then for decay is basically how long the shake takes. So again, compared to this graph, if we make a high value of the decay, the shake will be much longer, so it will basically be something like that. Let's see it in After Effects, just to show so you can understand better. So as you can see, the values we talked about, the amplitude, frequency and decay, they're all right here. So let's say we change this, right? Let's say we put a higher value for the amplitude, so let's say 0.2, right? As you can see, the amplitude got way bigger, and I'm gonna put like a crazy value just so you can see the difference. Yeah. And then the frequency, let's set the higher frequency. So you can see it has more bounces, and if we lower it for like 0.50, you can barely see the shake. Gonna bring it back to 1. Gonna put it 2 actually. And the decay is how long the shake takes. So if I take the decay down, for example 1, see how longer the shake takes? It didn't even finish, like, and the layer is already finished. But if I put the decay high, so for example 8, see how the shake lasts a lot shorter. And let's put a crazy value like 12. Already here it's ending, right? Now it's very tedious to always come here and change those values manually, just type numbers. So what you want to do is use slider control. By the way, this plugin is called FX Console. I really recommend you get it. It's free and it's really good, and it saves you a lot of time when you search for effects. But if you're a beginner, I still recommend using the effects and presets panel, because when you search for an effect, it shows you like presets that you have and similar effects. So yeah. Anyways, so the slider control is meant is basically a default effect from After Effects. On its own, the slider isn't doing anything. If I bump up the value, nothing changes. If I change it again, the shake stays the same. And this is because these effects, it's gotta be connected to the expression. So let me show you how to do it. Basically, you wanna like select the value that you wanna change. I'm gonna name it real quick to be amplitude. And then for the amplitude value, I'm gonna select it, and then you wanna hit the pick whip, which is this thing, and connect it to the slider. And now, as you can see, the line changed. Basically what it means that the amplitude is equal to whatever value that we give to the slider right here. So let's say I'm gonna give it a value of 2 and this is crazy high, so I'm gonna lower it down. Yeah, even more. Let's say 0.1. Yeah, this is more like. And by the way, if you wanna like change the value really slow, all you gotta do is hold Control and then it changes slow. Because if you do it normally here, it's gonna change like really quick. And generally it works like this for everything in After Effects. So if you wanna change the value low, you're gonna hold Control, and if you wanna change it fast, you hold Shift and it's gonna change fast. And then you want to do this for every value, so for the frequency and the decay too. So I'm gonna add another slider controller, name it frequency. Yeah, basically now you have like the most customizable way for your bounce expression, and this bounce expression really works for anything. So for example, I like to use it with warps a lot. So let's say I'm gonna use warp transform, right? And again, you want to do the same thing. So let's say I want to warp it on the X, right? So it's gonna end with 1 and it's gonna start with 1.2, let's say. And then again, Alt click the watch and paste the expression code. See, I got an expression for the warp transform. Let me show you another example. You can use it for any warp basically. Let's say we're gonna use it with twist. There's only one exception when it comes to bounce expression, and it's when using it with the distort. So for this you have a different code. I'll put it in the description as well. As you can see, I got a distort expression. Now this code is a bit more complicated because the values for the frequency, amplitude and decay are not really shown here. If you wanna like customize it with sliders, you're gonna want to use this code, which is the expression distort expression 2. And basically here I added these 3 lines, and now all you gotta do, you don't even have to use the pick whip, right? I gotta add the slider, and you gotta name it exactly how their name is right here. So bounce amplitude, bounce frequency, and bounce decay. So I'm just gonna do this real quick, and right off the bat, after you add those, because the values are 0, then there's gonna be nothing's gonna happen, right? But then let's give it some values. And then there you go, you got a fully customizable distort expression. And you can combine, right? Let's add warp transform. Sometimes I like to combine these, so again, let's add it on the X, same process. You're gonna use the original bounce expression, and look at that, really cool, really cool. Can add some pan crop. By the way, I'm editing on 18 FPS. I don't know if I mentioned that. So this is it for the bounce expression. So as I said, you can use the bounce expression for anything, literally, except for distort, which you gotta have this special other code. So let's talk about random expression now. So basically what it does, it takes 2 values, and the first one is the minimum value and the second one is the maximum value for whatever you want to put it on, and then it's gonna bring random values between the minimum and the maximum value. Let me show you an example, right? So I got a clip here and I made some color correction to it, and let's say I usually like to use it with the directional blur. So I like to use BCC plus directional blur. It's my favorite directional blur. I'm just gonna alt click this and I'm gonna type random, and then here you choose the minimum value and the maximum value, right? So the minimum value is gonna be 0, for example, and the maximum is gonna be 25. And then if you watch the value right here, it's gonna bring different values every time, every frame, between 0 and 25. It will never pass 25, and it will never go down after 0. So this is how it looks. Really cool. And you can use this for everything, like anything you imagine. Alright, so the last expression I'm gonna use a lot and I'm gonna talk about is the wiggle expression. And I got a clip here, and again I made some color correction for it. If you want a tutorial for color corrections, let me know. I'm gonna show you real quick how the wiggle expression works. So for wiggle, it takes 2 values as well. The first one is the frequency, and the second one is the amplitude. Now the amplitude is gonna go up and down from the start value. So for example, if you start on 50 and you put the amplitude on 100, then it's gonna go up and down like the how do you say this fucking word? Oh, range. So the range of the amplitude of the changing amplitude is gonna be 50 minus 100, so between minus 50 and 50 plus 100, so 150, right? So let's say I got this color correction right. Let's say I want to reduce the saturation a bit. If I put the value on 50, for example, and then add the wiggle expression, and let's choose a value frequency of 3 and value of 50. So now we're gonna get like between 0 and 100, right? Because it's 50 plus from 50 from the first value and 50 down for the first value. So if you want to look at the values here, you'll see it will go between 0 and 100, and this is how it looks. Just give it like some saturation in some parts, and you can do this even for like position values, for example. So for example, I'm gonna draw a rectangle here, and let's say I want to wiggle it on the X, right? So I'm gonna alt click this, wiggle 3, and let's say 200. As you can see, it's wiggling. Let's make the value crazy. Right, so as you can see, it goes 800 plus and 800 minus from the starting point. Anyways, I think this is it for today. I hope this tutorial was useful. I hope you learned something new, and if this will get enough support, I might do more tutorials. Let me know if you want me to do more tutorials. If you have any questions, you can always DM me on Discord. This is my Discord. Yeah, thank you for watching.